What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hensey, joined today by the man, Brian DeGennaro. How are we doing today, Brian?
I'm fantastic, as always, Pat. How are you?
Love it. I can't complain myself. Listen, I do want to talk about Estevan Florial today, kind of when we should expect to see him in the Bronx. But before we get into that, everyone be sure, like I always say, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. We're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season, so stay tuned for that content. But back to Florial. So let's kind of introduce this topic kind of by addressing the Yankees outfield situation. Obviously, they're not in too good of a spot right now. Going into the season, though, like looking at the Yankees outfield depth, we thought we had a ton of reliable bats to go to. But now the Yankees are in a weird situation. Clint Frazier and Brett Gardner have severely underproduced. They've actually been liabilities in the outfield. I would say defense-wise, they're not too bad, but they haven't contributed anything with the bat. Aaron Hicks wasn't too good this season. Before the injury, he started to come around a little bit, but now that he's injured, you don't know if at what point he's even going to come back, right? Because it could be a thing where he requires surgery and he's going to miss majority of the season, or it's something where he doesn't require surgery and he'll be back in a week or so. So he's kind of up in the air at this point. You would love to see him back, but you don't know. And Aaron Judge, he's probably been the only reliable guy out there. He's had his little bang-ups so far this season, but nothing too significant, knock on wood. He's kind of put up MVP numbers to this point. So shout out to Judge for being the only reliable guy out there. And also, they trade away Mike Tauchman. So that also lessens their depth as well. So speaking of Florial, what he can kind of contribute to this Yankees outfield is nothing in the immediate future, I would say. And I find it kind of interesting because once Hicks went down with the injury and the Yankees called up Ryan Lamar from AAA to kind of fill his role, and he's only played one game with the Yankees so far. But I think I saw a lot of fans screaming for Florial, right? And I don't know if I 100% agree with that for one of two things. One, because the Yankees couldn't call him up anyway. There was a 72-hour rule. He was just called up from AA to AAA, so you can't call him up to the bigs within like a 3-day period. So that's why he wasn't called up. But also, I think we might want to see him perform a little bit at the AA/AAA level before we bring him up to the majors, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. The guy's never played above single A, right, before this year.
Yeah.
So you go all the way from single A to the majors. Really, it's a huge jump in such a short period of time. So yeah, I think that's the big thing is that people are hyping him up, and you have to realize he's playing in the lower levels of the minor leagues right now, or he was when he was tearing it up. Now he's at AAA, but it's still the minor leagues. You don't know what he's going to be in the majors. He's never played in the majors before, so it's a tough question.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because it seems like Boone is also very high on him. So he was kind of asked about Florial when the Yankees did call up Lamar because people were kind of interested in what the organization kind of feels about him. So he said, we'll let Florial play. Obviously, we're watching and paying attention to what he's doing, but it's important that he plays right now and gets some everyday reps. But look, the situation we're in with 2021 and things that are going on being on the roster, he's in play. So I think that's I kind of agree with Boone, to be honest. You want to see him get consistent at-bats, right? And if the Yankees don't feel like he's going to be getting consistent at-bats at the major league level, there's no point in calling him up because, like we said, he's a 23-year-old outfielder with a ton of potential. He has 5-tool potential. That's essentially the type of guy we're looking at. So I don't think the Yankees want to rush him up too quickly and kind of kill any sort of momentum that he may have because let's not forget, like this season, he only played 9 games at AA before being called up to AAA. He performed pretty well there, and in AAA, he's only played 2 games. I think he has a hit so far, but it's such a small sample size. I'm not looking at it. That's also why we haven't really brought up his very, very minor stint with the Yankees in 2020 when he only played 1 game, and he went 1 for 3. It's just such like a small sample size. It's not even worth acknowledging. However, I think it's worth acknowledging that the Yankees do have that confidence in him, right? I think looking at the organization right now, outside of Jason Dominguez, obviously, I think Estevan Florial is kind of their top outfield guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. But I think it also helps that he's on the 40-man roster, so they wouldn't have to make a major roster move to get him up. But yeah, no, they definitely value him highly. I mean, he wasn't he the top prospect at one point?
He recently? Was. No, he
kind of fell off because of injuries and then COVID and everything, so he hasn't really gotten a chance to develop as much as we hoped he would. But he was very highly valued, and I mean I think that he still is to an extent. So I mean, as much as we're saying let's not rush the boat on him, he could end up being really good.
Yeah,
at the major league level.
As soon as this season, that's kind of how fast he's progressing, and I think this type of progression kind of just goes to show maybe we'll see at a Jason Dominguez in a couple years, just shoot up the ranks like it's nothing. Yeah, honestly. But let me ask you a question, Brian.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an over-under kind of thing. Ready?
Oh, boy.
Do you think we're going to see Estevan Florial in the Bronx before or after July 1st?
I think before. I think we see him sooner than later. Yeah, especially, I mean, I think a lot of it's going to ride on the whole Hicks injury, right?
Yeah.
Because if he's hurt for an extended period of time, I don't know if they're going to want to stick with, Lamar for that time period. They're probably going to want to give Florial a chance. So,
I think that's fair. Something that Boone did mention, I believe, is possibly a platoon in center field, because I know he mentioned Ryan Lamar has really good stats against the lefties. I think he's almost batting 300 against lefties in his career. So if they want to do that and kind of play Lamar against lefties and Florial against righties to kind of start things out, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I wouldn't either.
The only reason I might be opposed to it is because if Florial's up, I would want to see him getting consistent at-bats just so he's not kind of like rotting away on the bench. But he will be getting majority of the playing time, and I think that's kind of the most important thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. But honestly, I think the bottom line as far as Florial goes is that while I'm not getting my hopes up on him too much, just because I'm like that with prospects, we know that.
Absolutely.
I never like getting too excited about prospects just because they perform in the minors and then they come up and they might just end up disappointing because you never really know what to get. Baseball is like, it's nothing like any other sport. You could have guys who are like dominant in college and that doesn't even guarantee they're going to be good in the majors. So while I think that he is an awesome piece to kind of improve the Yankees outfield depth right now, I'm not banking on him being the Yankees savior this season. Especially like we said, he hasn't really played above high A. However, I think with that being said, he could still be a solid contribution to the team at some point this season.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the opportunity for him to, put some life into this team. We've seen so many times where, a guy comes up and all of a sudden everyone starts raking. So, I mean, there's the hope there. That's the ultimate hope, right?
Yeah.
But, I would just like to see him, get some consistent at-bats, continue to develop that bat, and, we'll see him here soon.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, he surely has a high ceiling as well. I think it would be awesome kind of inserting him as that left-handed contact / power bat who can kind of maybe, like you said, bring some life into this Yankees lineup so they don't have to go trading for like a left-handed outfield bat.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But with that being said, that is going to wrap things up for today. Everyone, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. Like I always say, we're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season. Stay tuned for Florial too. I'm assuming he'll probably be up within the next month or so. I don't know, give or take. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. But you guys know the deal. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Peace.